Oh yeah, covered like.
Coming up on the right is the John Mcdonough City Park Elementary School. John Mcdonough came here from Baltimore, Maryland, around the early to mid 1800s. He became a very successful merchant and real estate developer, and when he passed away around 1850, he donated much of his fortune to educating underprivileged children. One time we had almost 40 schools in the city that bore the name of John Mcdonough. This house on the right is another of the most remarkable homes. The fairgrounds is transformed into the site of the second biggest annual party in town. That's where the Louisiana Jazz and Heritage Festival takes place the last weekend in April and first weekend in May. On the left is another park dedicated to another early Louisiana historian named Alcée Fortier. Now, Alcée Fortier grew up in plantation country about 50 miles upriver. As a youngster, he liked to hang out around the slave quarters of the nearby Laura plantation. Some of you are going to be going with me to visit Laura later this afternoon. Now, Alcée Fortier would hang around to listen as the slaves or descendants of the slaves would tell stories to their children about a clever rabbit and a stupid hyena. Alcée Fortier went on to become a language professor at Tulane University and head of the Southern Folklore Society. His claim to fame is he was the first person to write down and publish the famous Tales of Brer Rabbit. And it was that connection that encouraged Mr. Norman Marmion to save Laura Plantation from the wrecking ball. On the left, we're passing St. Francis Cabrini Catholic High School for girls. That building originated as an orphanage for girls in the mid-1800s. On the right is our cemetery.
Oh my god, so hot. Look here. Morning.
Hello.
Hello. Jody!
Hey.
That Mother Teresa? Yeah. Mother Teresa.
Bayou St. John. And Bayou St. John is a secondary reason that New Orleans was located where it is. And in the 1790s, under Spanish Governor Carondelet, a canal was dug. Back in the 1790s, the Spanish dug a canal from the end of Bayou St. John right into the back of the French Quarter. Once they did that, the city had to be protected. So over to the right, these bricks you see are ruins of an old Spanish fort that was built out here in the late 1700s along the lakefront. After World War II, mainly in the 1950s and 60s, they started building beautiful homes along the lakefront. They had a nice view overlooking the lakeshore because these earthen levees, you see, did not exist. But in 1965, we were hit by a hurricane called Betsy. After Hurricane Betsy, we decided that we should build levees along the lakefront to protect us from rising water. Neighborhood to raise a family if you can afford the price. But small little houses sell there for as much as $300,000 or $400,000 just to tear them down and build a big new one in its place. There's some new houses in this neighborhood that are up in the $1 to $2 million range. Well, as we go over the levee and through the new floodgate, here you get your look at Lake Pontchartrain. The lake is named for the Duke of Pontchartrain, who was Minister Marine in France in 1699. Lake Pontchartrain is about 40 miles long from east to west, 25 miles wide north to south, but it's very shallow. The average depth is only about 15 feet. So that allowed us to build the longest bridge in the world that's continuously over water. The Lake Pontchartrain Causeway spans the lake 24 miles to the town of Mandeville on the other side. Recently, just about 2 weeks ago, China opened a brand new bridge 26 miles long, but there's still controversy because of the way it's built. It really only spans an area of 6 miles to pump the rainwater around the gates. So with that and many other things happening, we are much safer today than we were 6 years ago. Notice the sign in front tells you it's Notre Dame Seminary. Young men come trained for the Catholic priesthood. They agree to celibacies that are unwed when they become a red and yellow trim cars you might see running on Canal Street or the riverfront were stored at a different facility, and they did flood. It cost $1 million each to repair those 25 cars. Well, the operators realized they could get the electrical system on the riverfront running much sooner than they would along St. Charles Avenue, and they realized that the historic green cars could run on that system. They towed some of the green trolley cars up to the riverfront where they operated since shortly after the storm. Hopefully with that we can retain a title as the oldest continually running street railway system in the world, and the St. Charles line recently celebrated its 175th anniversary.